Hey everyone, it's me Malanka and my healing journey again. Things are gonna get a little bit crazy now, and this video takes us to June 12th of 2020. So that day was a big turning point in a lot of things because I called up my cousin to see if he could watch the kids for me. I had a friend meet me at the town courthouse, and I applied for a protection order against my husband. I was so terrified because things had escalated so much. I was terrified of him. So I went in and I was approved a protection order. And that's when the legal battle really started. His lawyer was complaining, and we were trying to figure out a custody schedule that was also going to work with exchanges, because I no longer was going to be doing exchanges. Kyle made a really big deal about he didn't want to deal with my mom. He really wanted to deal with my dad instead, but my dad does a lot of work out of town, so that just wasn't possible. So he didn't see them for quite a while. We did give him the opportunity the weekend of June 19th of 2020 to have the kids for the whole weekend. My mom would do exchange, and he turned it down. He turned down having our kids on the weekend for his birthday and for Father's Day. My friend ended up swinging by and drove by his brother's place, which is where he was staying at the time, and saw that there was a huge birthday party going on for him. So apparently having a big birthday party for himself was more important than seeing and spending time with our kids. Doesn't surprise me. To this day, he's given up a lot of time with our children. I've never denied him access to them. He just likes to make things very complicated. Let's see, so when was the next time? So on the Wednesday of June 24th of 2020, he had picked the kids up from my parents' house. There was no communication from him. He didn't ask anything about the kids, if they ate or anything. And he took them to his brother's, and then the next morning he dropped the kids off at my parents' place. My mom tried to ask if the kids had breakfast and where their hats were that they wore when he picked them up, in which he didn't have. Both kids were absolutely exhausted, and that's one thing that we've been struggling with every single time I have them. It's like they're going to bed really late, they're getting woken up really early, they're not getting the sleep that they need. It's been a constant battle for 3 years, but anyways, the kids were absolutely exhausted that all day. My daughter napped from 10 to 3, and both kids were in bed and asleep by just after 6 o'clock. He ended up picking them up that Friday for the weekend from my parents' place. And then on the Monday, he dropped the kids off at my parents'. There was no communication, again, if they had eaten. The kids were again exhausted all day. My daughter again napped from 10 o'clock to 3. Both kids were in bed by 6:30. June 30th of 2020. So at this point, his lawyer emailed my lawyer stating, since that he doesn't have access to the marital home, and since that I was living there exclusively, that I was gonna have to take on all the bills. Now at this point, he wasn't paying any child support, he wasn't doing anything. They basically said I was gonna have to take on everything. And I knew I wasn't gonna be able to take it on. I knew I didn't feel safe at all at that house, especially being a half-hour drive away from my parents. since that January, I had kind of temporarily already moved into my parents, so I packed up all the rest of my stuff and a lot of the kids' stuff, because I put a lot of effort into getting stuff for our kids. I was the only one that did the shopping. I was the only one that was always trying to go above and beyond for everything that they needed. And so I felt I deserved to keep all that stuff. So I took my stuff and the stuff that I put effort into, and I moved into my parents' place, which is how we responded to his lawyer's email asking, or telling us that I was going to have to take over all the bills. So June 30th, he had gotten possession of our house and I was fully moved out. I was very thankful and grateful that my parents took us in. They helped me move everything. They welcomed my kids and I into their house, which I know they were enjoying having a house to their own, but my kids definitely have benefited from being here. July 1st, he picked the kids up at a local restaurant, because now that I lived at the house, he couldn't come to my parents' house for exchanges. So my parents drove closer to his work area to drop them off, and then he would drop them close to their place in the mornings. The next day, he dropped them off at the local convenience store that was close to my parents' place. And I'm kicking myself because my lawyer said that if I breached him, that it would cause more issues. I honestly don't think that it would have changed anything, because things were already really bad and it didn't get any better. He had made threats directed at me to my mom. He claimed that he had evidence against me, but don't worry, I won't use it. I discussed it with my lawyer, and she basically told me not to, which I wish I did. There was no communication about the kids at all, as usual. So at this point, the custody arrangement that we had was he was having them 3 weekends a month, plus every Wednesday night to Thursday morning. So July 3rd, on Friday of 2020, he had picked the kids up at that local restaurant. There's no communication from him. And my mom kind of started noticing some weird things, because he would just, like, after she would drop the kids off and she would sit at the lights to start heading home, and the lights took forever to change. She thought it was very odd how he would sit in that parking lot for a really long time and was on his phone. He wasn't checking, like, really communicating with the kids. He was on his phone a lot. And that's when we first started noticing and having some kind of red flags that were going on. I will explain more in a later video, because it honestly, what the reason behind it doesn't surprise us, but I kind of feel bad for who it was involving, because to think that that's okay to do, it just, I have some pity, honestly. To think that going to those extents is worth it for someone, mind you, I guess I kind of went to those extents, so looking back, I wish I never did them. But that's another story. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and enjoy life to the fullest. Take care. Bye.